Yeah.
I'm gonna go get in the shower.
Alright. Thanks, baby bun.
Thank you.
Of course. Yeah, we will definitely play more multiplayer stuff together, because it's always fun. We don't do it nearly often enough, honestly, but... Okay, so... What we have here... I forgot chicken stock. Do I have something over here?
There might be some in there. Or broth, I guess.
That's fine.
Sorry. Sorry.
Okay.
The bottom left. Oh, there's stock.
That'll work as long as it's still good. Yep.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, I have a very photographic memory. I was like, I know exactly where it is.
Alright, good news. We do have stock. Shoutouts to Bun.
Shout out to me and my photographic memory.
I could have received the cheese package and immediately started eating, but we wanted to save it for a
You
cooking
needed both
stream.
of these lights on?
Yes.
That's fine. Can I turn this one off?
Yeah, that's fine.
Just what's going on right now. I'm like covering my boobs just in case that webcam picks me up. Oh, that's neat. Right, we're the last one.
Okay. How do? Okay. I think we're good. I'm just gonna go ahead and try to quietly listen to music, but it might be a little loud. My main priority is being able to see chat still. Okay. If someone could type in chat just to confirm that my chat's still working on my phone, that would be helpful, but I am gonna go ahead and get going on this otherwise. Do you want to turn up your background audio while you're over there, babe? Because I'm going to be pretty close to this mic the entire time. I just want to make sure that the background lo-fi is getting picked up more than my music that I have. Alright, thank you. Okay, so let me get a little more organized here and then I'll sort of explain what we're doing. But basically we have two types of cheese, courtesy of our friend Vex. We have 8-year super sharp cheddar, excuse me, and buffalo wing cheese, which I'm really excited for. Does this look better, by the way? This might actually look better. Okay, that looks way better. Okay. So we have buffalo wing and 8-year super sharp cheddar, as well as some cream cheese that we're going to use to make some jalapeno poppers. Those will be a side dish to go along with like a chicken and garlicky with beef stock, because that's all we had in the fridge or in the cabinet. This should probably go better with like chicken stock, honestly, because it'll just kind of keep the flavor unified. Loving the kitchen audio. If you can hear it slightly in the background, it's whatever. You can't hear me? Okay, cool. Oh yeah, we also have hot pepper bacon jam that I'm gonna mix in with, I think, at least the jalapeno poppers. I haven't decided if I'm gonna try to make it into the sauce over here. I'm also preheating the oven for 400 because both the jalapeno poppers and the chicken that we're gonna be baking need to go in for that. I'll probably end up turning down the oven at some point after we take out the jalapeno poppers, because those will cook faster, I think. But it's easier to kind of preheat to your hotter temperature, in my experience, and then cool down from there. Unless you're trying to be like super accurate, but okay. So it's a big ass onion. I don't know if I need all of this onion for the sauce, since this is mostly just going in the sauce. Let's grab these 2 pieces. I'll hold this off to the side in case I need that, but this is supposed to be like a garlicky oniony sauce, but I want to make sure it's not just like 100% onion. Okay. I think we'll be good without that piece of onion, but we'll confirm. These knives aren't very sharp, unfortunately. Hi, Lexi. Thank you. I have Guitar Hero nails right now, and they're very shiny. How are you doing? Good to see you. To get Theo a slap chop? I think I had one at one point, but I wouldn't be against it. I kind of like chopping stuff, honestly. I guess I don't chop 100% consistently all the time, but it's nice to work on the skill for it. We're gonna go ahead and get the garlic out next. I think that's probably good for onion. So actually, before I get going on that, I don't entirely know if we're actually going to be using this, to be honest, but save it for now. I should have had the recipes that we're making pinned in chat. But stay tuned to the end of stream if y'all want to know. But basically we're going to make a chicken, garlic, onion sauce for the chicken that we have. And then we are going to have jalapeno poppers for this cheese that Vex gave us. I'm pretty sure this recipe calls for just throwing the whole cloves in the sauce. Yeah, I'm sorry it's snowing so much. It was supposed to be like super rainy here during the subathon, and then it's just been nice and sunny the entire time, of course. Also, yo, now that Bun's in the shower, I am so excited for her for UFO 50 tomorrow. If y'all don't know, UFO 50 is a game that just came out that's like 50 brand new NES games, basically. And myself and a couple of friends put together a like curated list of like the top 10 games for her to experience. So it should be pretty fun. Should I be making rice with this? I guess we don't need rice with it. We might as well make some rice with it, I guess. Bun and I are both hungry. Turns out subathons are exhausting, yo. Are you guys able to see the lights at all? Did I adjust that camera too much? Okay. I'm gonna try cooking with this lighting on, because you can actually see the LED lighting around me a bit more. And the food lighting is at least still pretty true to color. Being on for 14 plus hours, right? Shocking. I also scheduled myself for a lot of stuff today, which was good, but perhaps more than I expected. Okay, so I kind of like my broccoli, like especially with the way I'm going to be making it, is more like broccolini, to be kind of long stems, but these are pretty long stems still. Like even by long stem standards. So I'm gonna cut off like about this much. I personally really like my broccoli to be pretty stemmy because it is pretty, like, it gives it a little bit more meat to eat, I guess. I know a lot of people don't always like their broccoli that way, but I kind of just always keep cutting to a flat edge here, by the way, and making sure that at least a little bit of the stem is all the way through. When I'm serving these to bun, I'll probably end up having to cut them a bit more, but it's easier to just kind of saute them all over a pan that's like, they're all flat anyway. Okay, so I'm still kind of just getting everything prepped, but because we're gonna have a pretty veggie-filled dinner, I just wanted to make sure that we have all of our broccoli cut ahead of time. You can see that I'm cutting them in like long strips instead to try to make sure that all of them have like a little bit of thick stem to bite off of. Like I mentioned, once I'm actually serving them to bun and get them off the plate, I'll probably have to cut them up a little bit more for us to eat, but I personally like cooking them like this because it makes them a little crispy if you can get like a big flat surface for them to fry against. Good night, Vex, and happy birthday. It was lots of fun to play with you tonight. After the cooking stream, we still have a little bit of stuff tonight, by the way. Bun's going to be playing a little bit more Hades to wrap up the night. I'm probably going to be off stream after this, because I've been on since like 8 a.m. this morning. But I'll be back tomorrow morning for more Guitar Hero stuff. I'm really hoping to be able to like beat the career mode of Guitar Hero 3. That would be nice. We're gonna have a fuck ton of broccoli. I'm also looking at this and thinking I should probably make rice, so we're just gonna make some rice. Okay. So we're gonna go ahead. We're gonna go ahead and get rice going, I think, because I think rice will fit this better. If you don't know, the ideal ratio is 2 cups of water to 1 cup of rice, and then you basically cook it for about 18 minutes, and it should come out pretty good. You can tell when your rice starts to pocket a little bit, where there's like actual little like holes in your rice as it's cooking through. That's like right when it's done. So we have a ton of broccoli, which is basically just gonna go in with the chicken when that's ready to go in. Like I mentioned, we have the oven preheating to 400 right now, so that should be good to go in all at the same time. The jalapeno poppers are going to be a little out of place in this dish now, to be honest, but I also really just wanted to use the cheese that Vex got us. Okay, so I don't want to like overload this pan, but I do want to also make sure the bun and I have as much broccoli as we want, because that seemed like the part she was most excited for when she saw the ingredients. That sounds pretty good to me, Momo. It's just a long stem, but honestly that'll actually probably taste pretty good. Alright, I don't think we have room for the rest of this broccoli, because I don't want to like... You want all of it to be basically the same height and flatness, so it all cooks the same. So that's fine, let's do that. Just regular olive oil, just drizzle over the top. It probably would have been like more efficient for me to like actually do all of this not in the pan, but drizzle of olive oil, a little bit of garlic salt, and a little bit of onion powder is all you ever really need. We can add pepper to it when it's fresh. But alright, broccoli's prepped. Let me clean this off real quick. Alright, so we're gonna go ahead and also make jalapeno poppers. Peppers aren't the best looking, honestly, but whatever. How many we got? 6? Let's go actually 2 egg whites. Trying to separate the egg yolk from the egg white here. Just because I only really need the egg white for breading. Alright. Pretty easy. Got a couple of... Oh, those are just little leaves, actually. Okay. So we have our egg white bath. We have our water that's starting to go for the rice. All of this is going to actually take about the same amount of time. So let me turn that down to low. When you're making jalapeno poppers, you always want to make sure to, one, give a big surface to eat off of, and two, make sure you do a good job de-seeding. Because you want the flavor of like the jalapeno pepper, but you don't really want any of these seeds or anything. So once we're done cutting these in half, I'll show you an easy way to do that. The spicy pit is good in some situations, but when you're making jalapeno poppers, you don't really want it. Both for the space and also for the spice. Because typically when you get jalapeno poppers, you want it to have like a little kick of spice, like from the pepper itself. But you don't really want more than that. You don't like the flavor of jalapenos? That's also fair. So the easiest way to do this is just to grab a spoon and kind of curl up under here, and you'll like remove pretty much all of it right away. I'll show one of these on stream so you can kind of see what I'm doing here, but the rest of these I'm going to do off stream. So basically take it with your hand and kind of just like spoon right here and try to lift all of it up. And then you can use the tip of the spoon to scrape it clean like that. You're gonna want little like jalapeno boats, basically. So let's just go ahead and do that for all of these real quick. I can't really do this on stream super easy because like I don't want to move the trash any closer, but I'm kind of just doing it over the trash so it's all thrown away already. Gotta get CO a cooking show. Well, thank you. I don't know nearly enough recipes for that. I'm definitely down to share the ones I do know. I think it also helps us actually eat better. Because, like, this is more dishes than I would have probably made for us in one night. But also, we need it pretty bad, so... So, like I mentioned, the jalapeno poppers are kind of the odd man out here in terms of like this being a composed dinner or whatever. But I want to eat jalapeno poppers, so. Okay, so we have our little jalapeno boats now. I think the next step is going to be starting to get the cheese together. As I mentioned, we have two honestly fantastic cheeses courtesy of Vex, who's now asleep, but we're gonna make this dinner in his honor for his birthday. I'm really excited about this buffalo wing cheese. I think it's gonna be pretty good. I don't need like a ton of either, actually. Just a standard cheese grater. Make sure you don't grate yourself. but other than that, it's fine. Oh, this falls apart super easy. Okay. If you're grating a cheese block, you definitely have to be careful because this can slice up your finger if you're not careful. As it gets closer, it helps to kind of just make sure that the farthest part of the block is the part that's grating. But you get nice fresh cheese out of it, and honestly, you get cheaper cheese because you get cheaper cheese, better cheese, and more cheese if you grate it as opposed to just having shredded cheese. So oh my god, that's so good. Oh my god. I hadn't had any of that cheese yet. I'll try to grate up a little bit more of the buffalo wing cheese, because I kind of want a little bit of cheese to sprinkle on top of the broccoli and stuff at the end. It also helps to just kind of rotate your cheese block around every so often as you're doing this. Just to make sure that you're actually, like, grating it all down somewhat evenly. It doesn't, like, super matter in terms of, like, the cheese block itself, but it does make it a little bit easier to keep grating it if it's all flat. Like, this one's not too bad, but even that's, like, not as flat as it was before. And then, obviously, if you don't feel comfortable grating your own cheese, you can just buy shredded cheese, but shredded cheese tends to have a lot more preservatives and stuff because it has to shred and then also have, like, not sticky stuff, so the cheese doesn't, like, it can hold up for a bit. You don't want a Parmesan hatchet. My dream is to eat spaghetti out of one of those, like, big Parmesan bowls someday. It's not a Parmesan hatchet, but it's a Parmesan thing. Thank you, Crunch. I think Bun would like or appreciate seeing cooking stream stuff in the clip show, so. Okay. So, I think what we're gonna do good thing I did the dishes earlier. We're gonna go ahead and make the jalapeno poppers and put them on that tray. I might actually switch the trays and put the broccoli on this one because this tray is bigger. Yeah, let's do that. So, when you're cooking, you always want to make sure you have, like, as much room for your stuff as possible. So I moved the broccoli onto this bigger tray. And now we have this tray, which I'm going to go ahead and just grab a paper towel and wipe up some of this excess oil real quick. I do kind of want to keep some of the oil on here because it'll be easier to pick up after it's done frying and stuff, but... Okay. Last little step. Also, when you're working with, like, cream cheese or really anything in the kitchen, it's better to not have, like, rings and stuff on. I technically probably shouldn't even have my watch on, but... it's pretty far down, so... making 12. Let's start with half. Maybe a little more than half. I don't want to use the full thing, because I don't think we need the full thing, but... Okay. The window is open. Okay, so I think y'all can see everything, but we basically have our 2 cheeses that we have, a bunch of jalapenos, and some cream cheese. We're gonna kind of just take like little bits of the cream cheese and mold it into, and just kind of fill out that little area right there. I'm gonna actually probably scoop out a little bit more room, just to make sure we have room for enough cheese on these. So this will basically be the beginning of the jalapeno popper. It's just a bunch of cream cheese, jalapeno, and shredded cheese. It's basically cheese molding, yeah. But the creaminess of the cream cheese helps offset a lot of the spiciness that comes from the jalapeno pepper, or the jalapeno pepper itself. And the extra cheese helps with that. These aren't like totally done before we season them, but I think I might actually just put most of the seasoning in the actual breadcrumbs this time. Yeah. Okay. Good call. Good call. That'd be a big VOD to have to delete. Jalapeno poppers basically are edible arts and crafts. I think a lot of baking is, honestly, because whether people want to admit it or not, they eat with their eyes before they eat with their, like, tongue and taste buds a lot of the time. So, like, if food doesn't look pretty, you're not going to want to eat it. And, like, I'm not saying most of my food is pretty, because I do kind of tend to cook a little more rustic a lot of the time. But, like, even rustic food can still look pretty, and just, you can tell there is a lot of love and attention put into it and stuff. Ooh, that sounds fun, Momo. We had a big 100 milligram soda each today, which I think helped Bun be a little more chill for Mario Party. So, when you're actually pushing the cream cheese into the jalapeno, you'll notice a lot of it kind of like squirts out of it. When you're filling it up to the top like this, it's actually pretty easy to not overfill it because the rest just kind of gets like squeezed out of the jalapeno anyway. So, and all of this is going to be breaded and stuff, so it doesn't matter if it gets a little messy on the outsides of it. I forget what CBN is, honestly, but that should be pretty chill otherwise. I made these jalapeno poppers by hand. Yeah, depending on how long the subathon goes on for, we might end up doing another cooking stream too, because it's both fun for us to do, Bun gets to eat good food, and y'all get to watch me cook. So, it's fun for everyone. Yeah, CBD and stuff is very good for pain. If y'all want to throw money and recipes at me, I'll make whatever y'all want to make. If y'all want to even pick a recipe for us to make, if it goes until, like... It would probably have to be Friday evening, honestly, because Thursday I'm going to be very busy catching up on all my stuff from being off all week until then. But we'll go ahead and say now, if we make it to Friday evening, I'll plan another cooking stream and I'll just run up to the store after work and get whatever y'all recommend. You can clip that live deal if you want. That sounds like a good idea, Crunch, but I would be devastated if Bun picked the pre-made. I have a feeling Bun would be able to tell, but... Also, y'all, my playlist needs the answer to this question. The band Panic at the Disco, they're fine, right? They didn't get any, like, weird stuff since the mid to late 2000s that I need to know about. Because I've been on a Panic at the Disco kick lately. Pretty sure Panic is good? Okay. Because I know many bands at that time were not good. So I need to check. I'm fine with that, Momo. That was quote-unquote controversial. If that's all he's got going for him, be pan, buddy. Also, that's not controversial anyway, but, you know. Okay. I should have probably done this before putting the cheese on there. At least another, like, 20 minutes or so.
Okay, I'll brush my teeth then.
No, you got plenty of time. Okay. No, you got plenty of time. I haven't even put anything in the oven yet. Okay. So, I should have done this before the cheese, but we're gonna go ahead and have a light little coating of this bacon jam also on top of all of these. That's like the least controversial band of all time, and that's kind of hilarious, and I'm down for that. like an actual want to spend time with your family and not like doing that because you're like forced to or whatever. So we're adding a little bit of bacon jam to the top of this, which will get cooked in with the flavor of this, and I think should be pretty good. The jalapeno poppers are going to be the star of the show here, but I'm also making some chicken and broccoli to go along with it for sustenance. And honestly, if we have leftovers, oh no, we have good food that we have to eat before it goes bad.
My only problem with Sia cooking streams is I don't get to eat the food.
If y'all ever visit and have room in your kitchen, or if we ever visit and have room in your kitchen, I can cook for you guys. What you see is what you get in our tiny apartment kitchen, but I've been cooking for us in here for almost 11 years now. So I've learned how to make do with a pretty small galley kitchen at least. It's so funny whenever I go to like relatives' houses and stuff and cook, because they're always so surprised how I can handle myself in a kitchen, and I'm like, y'all's kitchen's like twice the size of mine. Or, Momo, you could do that, because that sounds fantastic. I hope someday that we have an apartment that has room for a friend to come visit. Because right now we couldn't even offer you the couch, because the couch is the love seat that we sit at on stream sometimes. Yeah, in our prime travel days, we would have been like, if y'all have floor, that's fine, but we definitely are older and require more for traveling also, so I get it. Whenever we have friends that come over for the first time, they always like take a picture on the love seat, like it's like a it's like a tourist attraction or something. It's really funny. And I'm not mad about it, because like honestly, if I went over to someone's house and I was like, oh, that's the angle, I would do the same thing. But I'm pretty sure literally every friend that we've had has done it, and it's really cute. Okay, so the jalapeno poppers are prepped. I think what we're gonna go ahead and do is we're gonna bread these, put them on the tray, and then start the chicken. And then basically the chicken and the jalapeno poppers will go in at the same time. And then I think we'll probably add the broccoli at like 10 minutes in. Because the broccoli I think is only going to take about 10 minutes total to do. And then we'll just probably top it on our trays, or on our plates with this leftover cheese that we have here. Yeah, so my advice for food timing, because food timing is probably the most intimidating thing for cooking, is to just know what you're cooking, like, ahead of time. Prep everything out at the same time, and then it sounds kind of obvious, but start with the thing that's going to take the longest. Get that going as long as you need to, and then kind of, like, work your way down from there. I watch a lot of cooking shows, and you see a lot of people, like, kind of fuck up a lot because they're specifically, like, not starting their food on time or whatever. Admittedly, that is hard to do, but... Okay. Alright, so we have some chicken thighs that I thawed in time, thankfully, for dinner. We're just going to go ahead. I guess I'll work on it over here-ish. I'm running out of room, but... Oh, you know what? No, what we can do. Let's finish making these first. So... the easiest way to do this is to just have your station of breading in order and have a hand that's a wet hand and a hand that's a dry hand. Before we go, I wanted to season this a little bit more because this is just regular breadcrumbs right now. And like, whatever. So we're going to add a decent amount of onion powder. A little bit of cumin because I think it's going to play nice off the bacon. Some pepper. And garlic salt. Another thing that I see a lot of people cooking doing is missing opportunities to be able to season stuff a bit. Like, a lot of people don't think to season this and will just do the straight breadcrumbs and stuff on it. But as someone who has eaten a lot of food, you can definitely tell when stuff has been flavored like all the way through instead of just like a little bit. Hi Star, how's it going? We're making your chicken too. But first, we're finishing these jalapeno poppers. If you're wondering what the red stuff is on them, babe, it's the bacon jam. Yeah. Mm-hmm. They're going to be on the inside so it cooks with it.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, you're gonna bread it after?
Yeah. Well, we're breading it now, putting it on here, and then it's going to cook.
What I meant was after putting the bacon
Yes.
on. Sorry.
So I don't know how well you can see, so I'll do one of these like on camera and then do it normally the way I'm supposed to. But you just want to kind of drip it in the egg and just like a little bit on the top, just enough to make sure. Okay. And then as you transfer it in here, you want to completely switch hands because you don't want to touch the wet stuff in here, otherwise it'll clump up a bit. So right now I'm just kind of sprinkling some of these breadcrumbs on top just to make sure it gets toasted on the top. And then grabbing it on the bottom, pushing it down, making sure it gets all the way coated. And because it's just like a quick dip, it's not going to stick like perfectly, but you kind of just want like a little bit on the outside, just enough to add like a little bit of a crisp. Yeah, you want one hand wet, one hand dry.
So we're gonna need to do laundry like tomorrow. I meant to do it the day before the subathon, but it was all rainy and shit.
I can start some with Guitar Hero tomorrow, maybe.
The earlier we can get it, the better. Honestly, even if you just do like one load of underwear and t-shirts,
Okay.
that's what I need the most. Maybe socks.
Just load up what you need. Okay. So, after we're done with the jalapeno poppers, we're gonna go ahead and actually start on the chicken stuff. The chicken is gonna have a sauce that's probably gonna go over the top of the broccoli. I also have water like kind of going for rice that we've just had on like warm and ready to go for the entire time. So we'll have rice as like a starch to kind of absorb some of these sauces and stuff. How is the music compared to my voice, by the way? I haven't been listening to stream in a minute, but I hope it's fine. Y'all haven't said anything about it, so I assume it's not, like, bad, at least, but... Okay, cool. That's exactly what we want. Thanks. So, with the dry hand, just make sure that you're definitely getting at least the top crispy. If you can get it all the way around, that's even better. And if you're like doing a more like intense dredge, you might even do like a second round of the wet dry stuff here. I'm gonna be honest, I normally only just do like kind of a light coating and stuff, because I prefer at least jalapeno poppers. Like if it was like fried chicken or something, you want that all the way around. But with jalapeno poppers, you kind of mostly get the crisp from the fried pepper itself and the breadcrumbs on top. And if there's breadcrumbs all the way around, it's better, but like... honestly, sometimes it's better to get the fried taste on the bottom of the pepper anyway. I can tell y'all that adding the bacon jam to this was like primo call though. Because normally one of the things that's kind of admittedly lacking about jalapeno pepper or jalapeno poppers is that they're a little heavy and also kind of one note with their flavor. Which is also why I like to season the breading and stuff, because it adds a little bit more depth to it. But this bacon jam is definitely going to add a nice smokiness to the poppers. And honestly, with or without the bacon jam, jalapeno poppers are kind of one of my favorite like party foods for Super Bowl stuff. Because jalapeno peppers are very cheap. Like they normally sell by the pound, and most of the time you're not buying a pound of jalapenos. And if you are, it's for like a full ass Super Bowl party and stuff, because like you saw, I was able to cut these in half, and we're gonna have pretty much a full tray of jalapeno poppers with this. Well, thanks, Crunch. I'm pretty determined in 2025 to cook for us a little bit better, because I started to get back in the habit of that last year, but I still wasn't exactly where I want to be. So, given how popular the cooking streams are, both this time and literally every time I do them, I definitely want to try to at least do a cooking stream once a month. I would like to do it more than that, but honestly it is kind of a pain in the ass to like have to move everything in here. But I think it would be nice if we could potentially get together like once a month and either cook together and like plan a recipe and stuff, or just have a cooking stream. So also, if you work in produce, they're extra cheap. True. I never worked at a grocery store, but I did do my time in retail, both at Forever 21, which if you don't know is a women's clothing store. It has a little bit of guys stuff too, but the guys stuff is definitely like we're trying to suddenly decide that we care about the male audience and are going to try to gonna try our best to get them in here, but charge twice as much as every other shop. Yeah, I always really like cooking streams too. I get a little intimidated on like what to make, but if we can plan that part ahead of time a little bit better. Like for example, for those who came in late, I offered that if we get to Friday evening in terms of subathon timing, that I would do another cooking stream based off of whatever chat wanted us to make. I would ask that it's not like a ton of ingredients because I would have to like go to the store and buy all of the ingredients separately. But I am down to make whatever y'all want if we go that far. Alright, so jalapeno poppers are prepped. I think these are going to be pretty good, so let's put these off to the side for now. Yeah, final poppers kind of got the desperation. We're going to grab what's left here. Okay. So, the final thing is going to be the main protein of the dish, which we have been waiting on for now, because I'm kind of still trying to remember what we're doing for it. I think what we do first is we grab our chicken thighs, and we're going to just kind of season them all. I should have opened this first, whoops. We're going to season them all over with the same garlic, salt, and pepper, just to get them like a nice coat. You can do this with chicken breasts also, but as I've gotten farther in cooking, I've started to steer away from chicken breasts and more towards chicken thighs. They're both a little easier for me to cook and also honestly taste better. So I prefer chicken thighs, but this recipe is almost the exact same with chicken breast, I'm pretty sure, so. This Hello Kitty game goes hard. I told you. I played it and I was like, oh, okay. Excuse me, Hello Kitty. Hi Queen, how's it going? Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get a little bit of olive oil going in this cast iron pan. This cast iron pan is basically going to make a sauce down, and we're going to put it in with the same time as the jalapeno poppers that we just made. And then a couple of minutes after, we're going to add the broccoli to it. Yes, babe? Oh, I cannot help with that right this second. I will help you in like 5 minutes because everything will be in the oven by then. Okay. Okay. You missed the Hello Kitty game? I'm gonna be real, J-Bug. We're probably gonna play it again because it went surprisingly harder than we expected it to. For those that missed it, this morning we played Hello Kitty. What is it? Hello Kitty Happiness Parade, I think, is the name of the game. It's a Hello Kitty roguelite rhythm game, and it is 100% both a roguelite and a rhythm game. Like, I was pretty convinced when I read that review that the guy was like kind of over exaggerating it, but no, that game cannot be described as anything other than a Hello Kitty roguelite. I'm gonna also add onion powder to these guys before they go in, just to add a little bit more onion flavor. We are going to have onions in like the sauce itself that it's going to be cooking with. But I want to make sure it gets on the crust of the chicken. Captain, you right. Food, indeed. Hi, Circle. How's it going? Alright, so oven is preheated to 400. We have the back burner on, which I'm going to go ahead and start turning to high because we're going to have our rice trying to cook at the same time as this. Rice takes about 18 minutes. The chicken is going to take about 15 to 20. The poppers are going to take about 15 to 20, and the broccoli is going to take about 10 to 15. So we're going to have a couple of different layers of timing and stuff, but not right now. I'll bring them up. Just put it over on my side for now, and I'll bring them in here later. Sorry, there's no room for anything right now. I didn't mean to say not right now, but there's just no room for anything.
I just wasn't sure where to put it, is why I froze.
That's gonna be my comeback stream. I'm so excited, Queen. I started to watch The Bear, by the way, speaking of cooking shows. It's not really like a cooking show, it's a show about like working in a restaurant and stuff, but it seems pretty good. I'm not very far into it yet, but... Okay, so we have a cast iron pan with like a little bit of olive oil at the bottom. We're going to be adding a bunch of beef stock into it, so we don't want to make it too oily, but we need to make sure we have enough in here to be able to like kind of get it sear on the chicken first. Don't hold your hand like in the pan, but you can hold it kind of above the pan to feel if it's hot. It feels like it's getting warm, but I'm going to wait a couple of seconds more. So, I thought I wouldn't really be able to cook in stream because I used, like, when I cook by myself, I cook pretty quietly. But when you're talking through all the steps, it's actually kind of helpful, and it helps to kind of talk through all the steps anyway, just so y'all know what's going on. So, we're basically just getting a sear on this chicken now. We're going to also add in some of this garlic and onions that we chopped up earlier. None of this stuff is actually going to be in the final dish, I don't think, because I'm going to try to put it off to the side as we add in beef stock, and the beef stock is going to be the final sauce that actually like goes over everything. But we need to get a good sear on the chicken first. So the chicken's going to take about 2 to 3 minutes. While that's going, I'm going to grab the rice real quick. Like I mentioned, we had 2 cups of water boiling already. And we're just getting that back up to a boil before we cook our 1 cup of rice. Since we're going to be cooking this in the oven, the chicken doesn't have to cook for as long as it normally would. But we are going to want to try to flip it for about 2 to 3 minutes. Not too long, like just enough to get like kind of a cook on one side. We can actually probably cook it a little bit longer on the other side. And then once that sears down, we're going to go ahead and turn this to low and get kind of a sauce boiling. And then as that starts to reduce, we're going to put all of this in the oven together as we have a little bit of rice to go with it. This will definitely be a very filling dinner, babe. I'm also probably going to flip this chicken again, because I think I should have probably left this sear for slightly longer. You basically just want to get 1 or 2 crispy sides on the outside, and then as it cooks into the oven, it's going to go ahead and actually bake everything through. Another nice thing about chicken thighs, specifically compared to chicken breast, is some chicken breasts can actually be kind of thick, so that like variance between cooking, depending on how you're getting your chicken breasts and stuff, can sometimes be kind of wild. But chicken thighs normally have about the same thickness, even if they're like thickest part. Plus, like I said, I think they just taste better. Can I get this card? I can. Okay. So now that we're done prepping, I think it can go over here. Let me know if this camera angle works. I think it does, right? Okay, that looks pretty good.
Yeah, good.
Thank you. So that's more of the color that I'm looking for. You want just like a kind of like golden brown on the top. I'm gonna let this sear. It's 7:38. I'm gonna let this sear for another like 2 minutes on this side, and then we're gonna turn it down to low. Add in all of these onion and garlic on the side over here, and then add a little bit of beef stock, just enough to kind of add like a little bit of coating to the bottom. Gonna try to get as many of these little chicken scrapings off the bottom as you can, because you really want that in your sauce if you can too. Yeah. And then once all of this is going in, we'll kind of just layer it based on how long it should be taking to cook everything. If you hear a lot of popping, you can go ahead and turn it down a little bit more. So I turned it down to medium because some of the oil was starting to get a little hot, and you obviously don't want hot oil flying up at you.
Black, gray, or white?
For what?
For the new one.
Great. So, when I was starting off cooking, one of the things that intimidated me most, honestly, was wondering how people can make sauces out of stuff. And as you're about to see from this dish, a lot of sauces are really just whatever was left in the plate anyway. Like, obviously there's more complex sauces that you can make on your own and stuff, but like, a good pan dripping sauce is gonna go so far for most of your cooking that you need. Okay. So, go ahead and add the garlic and onions off to the side. You can kind of see I basically just added enough beef stock. Let me see if I can move this. Basically just added enough beef stock there to kind of coat the bottom. I'm going to be adding more seasonings and stuff to it as it goes, but you basically just want to have a little bit of a sauce at the bottom. And as it starts to boil, the liquid will start to get removed from the beef stock, so it'll start to thicken down and become more of like a sauce rather than just like a bunch of beef stock that you poured in the bowl. Oh. So, to the sauce, just add a bunch of pepper. You kind of want to just keep layering the flavors that we've already been having. You don't have to have a ton of garlic salt because we do have a lot of garlic that we're cooking in first. Speaking of, gonna go ahead and mix around. Sometimes you can cook the onions to be like made to be eaten with this. I'm actually gonna add a little bit more beef stock. I think that needs onion powder. I am going to add a little bit of cumin around here though. This just adds a little bit of earthiness to it. I've heard that mushrooms also give that same kind of flavor, but I'm going to be honest, I don't really cook with mushrooms very often. So basically we're just going to let this get back up to a point where the sauce is kind of bubbling again. And then we're going to put it in the oven. The chicken should be cooked in about 15 minutes or so. We'll go ahead and put this in at the same time as the jalapeno poppers. And as I'm doing that, we're getting the back water to a boil. And basically, if you don't know how to cook rice, we're going to put in 1 cup of uncooked rice into 2 cups of water. Get that water boiling for about a minute or so, and then put a top on it. Cook it on low for about 18 minutes, and it should be fine. Or just get a rice cooker. We learned recently that rice cookers are pretty good. Ours broke, so I have to cook rice the old-fashioned way. But also, I think it's probably better for a cooking stream anyway, so. Yeah, rice cookers are fantastic. I was growing to really like ours, and then of course the second I said that, it broke. So, as reference, you can already see that the sauce has started to cook down a little bit more. It's not quite as, just juice as it was before. The top of the chicken is going to get more crust on it as you start to cook it, so it's fine that it only has, a little bit right now. We're going to be cooking it in the oven for, 15 minutes or so, so it's definitely going to get its time to cook. One thing that is very important when you're working with a cast iron pan, and especially if you're working with a cast iron pan that's coming in and out of the oven, is to have something wrapped around it, like a dry towel or something, when it's out and hot. Because it's not going to look like this is super hot, but if you're taking all of it out of the oven and you've been in the oven for 400 degrees, this is going to get really hot, and it's not going to look like it, so... I'm basically just waiting for this rice water to get boiling, but I think this is actually probably good to go in. Setting the kitchen timer for 15 minutes. So basically, once that 15 minutes is up, this stuff should be done. I'll probably throw this broccoli in 5 to 10 minutes or so, and then just gauge it on how long it takes to kind of get a golden brown on that broccoli too. The water for the rice is boiling, so the only tip I have for the rice is just to make sure that you shake it around so that all of the rice is actually in the water, because a lot of the time when you're cooking rice, it kind of just all pours into a pile, and sometimes that pile is not always actually over the rice. I'm turning that back burner to low now, because basically we got it to the point where it's bubbling, but you need rice to cook for a while, and if you cook it too hot, it'll definitely dry it out. So, now that we have the chicken in here, we also have the jalapeno poppers in here. We have a couple of minutes until the broccoli's got to go in. So, I have to take care of something really quick, but I'll be back in a few minutes. 1 second. Crisis, not averted. Alright, broccoli is in. So everything should be cooking together. We have a little bit of leftover cheese to top it with. I'm going to try to just use a little bit of this time to clean up, because this is admittedly a part of cooking that I'm not always as good at. But since we have 10 minutes to chill, we might as well clean together too. Nice, it looks like everything's cooking together pretty well. If you have stuff that cooks at different temperatures, you can also, like if it's supposed to cook at like 350 instead of 400 or so, depending on what it is, you can sometimes just cook it at 400 and just kind of adjust the temperature down. If it's meat, I would maybe recommend just trying to cook it for as long as possible. It's a hot take, but I like my meat cooked. But also, a lot of people prefer their meat to just have a hard sear on the outside, and then, especially if it's like a steak or something, don't want it cooked all the way through. Which is fine, but yeah. That's personally why I prefer cooking and why Bun prefers baking, I guess, because cooking you kind of just fudge stuff.
I like being told
sometimes.
what to do.
Yeah.
How to do it. And how much to put it.
Baking is much more follow rules for sure, yeah. So I don't really have like too much exciting to look at right now for the next like 7 minutes or so.
Do we have a flexible plastic cup?
No? No?
Of course not. Just took out the trash so we don't have like a Dutch Bros cup.
made homemade hamburger buns. Wow, that sounds good.
Can you give me the dish soap?
Well, I wasn't expecting the cooking portion of the stream to be as long as it was, but we also ended up making like 2 side dishes and a main dish. I guess 3 side dishes if you count the rice, but rice is more of a starch for me, not really a side dish. We cooked good, thanks. I'm glad it came out good. If y'all missed it, by the way, this is what the rest of our kitchen looks like. We have nice LED lights and stuff. Zoomed in. You're able to see the LEDs a little bit more on the last cooking stream where Bun was in here and sitting back here in the corner, because we kind of had it at like a farther back angle. So maybe if there's another cooking stream, we can do that one. As I've mentioned a couple times, but I want to keep mentioning to people who are here, since you're probably interested in the cooking stream if you are. If this subathon goes until Friday, which is 5 days away. If this goes another 5 days, I'll do another cooking stream for us on Friday night after I have time to like run to the store and get stuff. And that'll be whatever chat decides, as long as it's not like too expensive for us or whatever. Garbage bags?
Should I double up the garbage bag?
I think this will be fine.
I don't want that one, I want the thicker one. Okay, let's see if the center one's in here. Door, so I can see trash. Forward to this.
We could also potentially just ask a neighbor if they have one that we can borrow.
No, that's weird.
Okay.
How would we like get it back? I think you're big.
Guess so. So theoretically, all of this stuff should be coming out of the oven at the same time, and then the rice should be done about a minute or 2 after that. As I mentioned, we have a little bit of leftover cheese that we grated up from the jalapeno poppers that's going to go over the top of the broccoli, and then we'll have like chicken and rice off to the side, and I guess technically an appetizer of jalapeno poppers. They don't technically go with the rest of the dish, but we're going to eat them with the rest of the dish, so... And then, as a reminder, we're not done streaming tonight yet. After this, we're going to take a pretty decent break to actually eat all this food and I guess take care of whatever's going on back here. But Bun will be back after that break for a little bit of Hades. I believe Hades won, she said. And then we'll do what we did last night, where we just have the YouTube stuff going all night for Bun and I's like recaps and stuff, because that seems to go pretty well. And then I'll be live with y'all again tomorrow morning at about the same time we started today for some more Guitar Hero 3 stuff. And then whatever else is on the schedule, because I forget. But I do know UFO 50 is tomorrow, which I'm very excited about. Alright, so stuff's coming out of the oven soon. As I mentioned, I'm going to take one of these and wrap it around the cast iron as it comes out, just to remind myself that it is hot and I should not touch it. I'm gonna leave the broccoli in there for a couple more minutes. Okay. So, as you can see, the chicken has a much deeper brown on it now. The sauce is pretty thickened up. We're mostly just gonna have this kind of like drizzled over the rice and stuff, and just kind of have the flavor of the onion and garlic over here. The jalapeno poppers look fucking amazing, to be honest. That bacon jam put in work on that. And then, as I mentioned, keeping that wrapped in a towel so I don't accidentally grab it. I'm gonna see if I can show off what the rice is supposed to look like, but it's a little steamy, so it might not work super well. But if you can see, the rice kind of has little pockets in it. As it starts to kind of like cook, there's like little holes almost. And you want it to look like that because that means it's actually cooked properly. So let's go ahead and turn that off there. I want the broccoli to have a little bit more of a sear on it. Gracie does not care. That's adorable. Okay, so plating is something I'm admittedly not like perfect at, so we're gonna try to be a little better at it tonight. I'll cut that chicken open before we serve it, of course, but it looks like it's pretty good. Should have probably let this chicken actually rest in here a little bit longer, now that I'm thinking about it. But we're going to be doing a little bit of pan sauce over it anyway. So it looks like that rice dried out actually, so we're not going to serve that, but honestly that's fine. I don't think this really needed rice anyway. I think what probably happened with that rice is as it was on warm the entire time, I think it evaporated more water than I thought it did. 1 second, y'all. Yep. I assume that was supposed to be fried rice. But honestly, fridge rice is hilarious. Realized I wasn't showing this part. Whoops. Okay. Sorry, everyone. Gonna also use the physical heat of this sauce to help melt down this cheese at the end. But honestly, if it ends up adding a little bit of raw cheese to this, it's fine. It worked?
Yes!
Bun bun bun! Good job.
It's so perfect. I gotta take that out there though. I knew I had to do that. Oh.
Okay, so this isn't bad. I do wish I would have gotten a little bit harder of a sear on this outside part. I think this part probably... Mostly wanted to have it plated. I'm trying to make it more edible for us right now. So, good news is it's definitely biteable now. This is more of like the completed-ish plate. Which honestly, I think it came together pretty well. We got our chicken with herb garlic sauce. We got our fried broccoli with some great cheese courtesy of Vex. And we got our jalapeno poppers with the bacon jam, also courtesy of Vex. And thank y'all. I'm glad that it came out well. The rice was a little bit of a bust, but honestly the rice was a last minute thing anyway. The timer is at 12 hours, it sure is. People have been very generous. So hi again, Arya. How's it going? Been lurky. I'm so glad everyone's been lurking and hanging out for this. Ben and I were both pretty nervous that this subathon was going to be a little more low-key this year. And y'all have made sure that that was not the case, so thank you. As I mentioned, we are also planning, as of this cooking stream, to have another cooking stream if the subathon goes until Friday, where chat can decide whatever we make next time. My only request is that it's not like super expensive because I will have to like go after work to buy it, most likely, or at least buy the ingredients and stuff for it. But I am down to make stuff with y'all again during the subathon.
about that.
Oh, yeah, probably. Alright. You want to come over here and give your thoughts before we take our break and eat this? Okay, Bun's gonna wash her hands and then she's gonna give her thoughts on the dish. Okay. But I think it came out pretty good. As we mentioned also, Bun and I are going to take a quick break to eat this and kind of rest after she solved all that stuff. And then she'll be back for a little bit more Hades. I will probably honestly be trying to get ready for bed because I'll be up in about 12 hours for some more Guitar Hero stuff. But it was very fun cooking with y'all. I think we made some good food. The rice
Yum!
The rice was a bust, but I don't think we needed it anyway. It would have been
What
too
happened
much.
to the rice?
It overcooked.
Oh, because of the situation. Wow, this looks amazing.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Of course. And like I said,
Oh, look at all the broccolis.
I forget.
Give me more broccoli on my plate.
I forget if you were out here for it, but I said if the subathon goes until Friday night, I'll do another cooking stream of whatever Cat wants to make, as long as it doesn't go too hard with it, I guess.
Yeah.
But that way we have an incentive for Friday evening, because I don't think we have
You don't have to
anything
cut
for
it that
yet.
much.